Welcome to A Dog's Devotion, the heartfelt podcast for every dog lover. Here, we celebrate the unbreakable bond between humans and their dogs. Each week, we sit down with inspiring guests who share powerful stories of love, resilience, and devotion. From the joy of adoption to the heartbreak of loss and the healing that follows, this is a space where we honor our best friends, the ones who leave paw prints on our hearts forever. Give your pup an extra hug and never forget the devotion of a dog. I'm your host, Carla Bisacchi. Thanks for joining me. Hi, I'm Carla Bisacchi, and welcome to A Dog's Devotion, a podcast for all dog lovers. As a dog parent, there's a moment that every parent knows. It's quiet, it's late, and suddenly your dog does something that doesn't feel right. Sound, stumble, stillness, and your heart drops. I have lived through those nights with Max, staring into the dark, listening for his breath, wishing I had someone to call, someone who understood the fear only a dog parent knows. And it's a horrible, horrible feeling. So we've all been there at one point or another, right? When the vet is closed, your friends are asleep, and the only thing louder than the silence is the question in your mind, is my dog okay? Imagine if, in those moments, you didn't have to wonder. Imagine if there was a place you could turn instantly for comfort, guidance, and answers. Today's episode is about something new, something designed for exactly those moments, something that might just change the way we care for our dogs forever. Stay with me to learn about a new app that is just for dog parents. We'll be right back. Today on A Dog's Devotion, we're stepping into the world of innovation, heart, and community with a company that's changing how pet parents navigate life with their dogs. My guests are Anthony and Arlu. They are the founders of AskMambo, a platform built to simplify pet care, empower owners, and offer real support for the questions so many of us have, but often we don't know where to ask. From behavior to nutrition to health concerns, AskMambo is creating a trusted space where dog parents can find guidance, connection, and confidence. And like everything on this show, it all comes from one place. And of course, that is for the love of our dogs. So let's dive into how their journey began, the problems they're solving, and why they believe every pet parent deserves accessible, compassionate support. You two, it's such a pleasure to meet you both, Arlu and Anthony. Thank you for joining me.
Same here. Thank you so much for having us. We're huge fans of the podcast. Love it.
Thank you. You know, it's a passion project, and I know you know all about that because we'll dive into how AskMambo came about. But right off the top in my intro, I mentioned how as a pet owner and pet lover, when my Max was sick, and there was a couple times it was a long weekend, sometimes it'd be 2 a.m. when I finished work, and there's nowhere to take him to. I couldn't call anybody. Maybe behavior, like there's nothing worse than the pet parent than when your dog's not well. And so I know that it's the worst feeling in the world. And I think that what you've come up with is a way that's going to help solve that problem so people don't have to fret about things like that. If you don't mind, I'd actually like to read your mission statement right off the top so people know what it is. Your mission statement is, our mission is for AskMambo to help people strengthen the bond they have with their dog, one conversation at a time. And I think that sums it up perfectly, don't you?
It does. Yes. Thank you for that.
Okay. So Anthony, tell me, what inspired the two of you to create AskMambo?
For sure. So Arlo and I are married. We've been together 24 years, married for 11 of those years. And
Congratulations.
Thank you so much. And there's always been a dog. We had Doug the pug beforehand, lived in New York City, moved to the Philippines for 6 years. We came back, got married, and said, it's time for a dog again. So, we got a dog, we got Murph, and then we got Mambo. And Mambo was a Shih Tzu. He was a rescue. Both were rescues. And we had Mambo for a while, and he started to get a little sick. He had some issues. He had Cushing's disease. Then he got a brain tumor. He had an enlarged heart. And he was the sweetest little dog. He hardly ever barked. He was like this little Disney character. He was fantastic. He was great. So it took a lot of long nights, a lot of medication, a lot of testing. And throughout that whole process, we were doing what you were doing, right? I mean, you Google at 3 a.m, you panic, you
Yeah.
stay awake, you hug them, you hold them. You
Yeah,
can only do so
it's the
much.
worst feeling.
Yeah,
So
right.
awful. Yeah.
And that bond that you have with that dog is so special. And non-dog people just don't get it. They don't understand what that bond is all about. So, after Mambo passed, and this was just this past June.
I know. I can't believe you've done all this since June, and I'm so sorry.
Oh, thank you.
Max passed a year in August, and I still cry every day.
Oh, I'm so
So
sorry. Yeah.
I know how hard it is. I get all teary-eyed thinking about him now, but this is only November, you guys. I'm so sorry.
Thank you. Yeah, it's to be honest with you, while he was sick, I remember looking in his eyes and telling Mambo, "We're gonna figure out a way so the world doesn't forget you." You're
Mm.
gonna make me cry now. So that's why we launched this. And 2 weeks afterwards, my background's in tech and AI and strategies. I thought there's an AI solution here. So 2 weeks after Mambo passed, we started working on this, hired an amazing development team, built it out over the summer, and we just launched in October last month. And people are signing up. Our social is off the charts. We're having tons of engagement. We've had meetups. So people are really excited about this. And again, it goes all back to that mission that you read at the top, which is helping people get closer to their dogs, really deepening that bond. And also, one of the ways we do that is to help people not to panic. It's not just AskMambo is not just for medical at all. It's just that's one of the use cases, but it's really getting to know all the silly things that they do. Having a tool that helps you kind of decode their behavior. When you know them a little bit better, you just cuddle a little bit more, and you really have a better relationship with them. So that
Mhm.
was really kind of the goal. And now the 1.0 version of the AskMambo is out there. AskMambo.com. It's free, 100% free. And people can use it and sign up for it. So that's basically how we started and how we're starting to build it out right now. We're really looking at how people are using it, gathering early feedback from folks, and plowing that right back into to the product.
Right. Now, Arlo, you guys were just in New York for the Halloween parade at Washington's Park, I believe. And I think you met the doggist too while you were there. Did you?
Yes, we did. Yeah. So the nice thing about it is that we are now connecting with very interesting people in the dog community. As you know, dog lovers are fun, they're whimsical, and they're just fully committed to their dogs. And so this past Halloween, we did attend two parades. The first one is in the East Village. Then we went to Washington Square Park. We also had the privilege of attending a lecture by the doggist,
Hmm.
and yeah, just to see how he takes his photos, and then we're huge fans. And
Yes.
so yeah, this is we're taking this as a chance to connect with other committed dog lovers such as ourselves.
Which I think is great. That's how you're going to get the word out, right? Now, Murph was dressed up. What was he dressed up as? Can I ask?
Well, this is actually kind of Arlie. Do you want to tell the story?
Of course. Well,
Okay.
of the many costumes that we had at our disposal, Murph chose to attend both parades as a chicken.
A chicken.
Not chicken, a Shih Tzu chicken.
Was such a nice energy. Of course, people were stopping him every few feet to take pictures. And of course, we were the proud parents. Between you and me, I don't think Murph enjoyed the attention.
You don't think so?
Not quite. Murph is very private, especially now that he's 14. He's gotten a
Right.
little more reserved.
He's
Yes.
a stoic Shih Tzu. Yeah.
Okay. So, as you were talking about Ask Mambo while you're in New York, what was the response like, Anthony?
People wholeheartedly, the message we got back was, "This is fantastic. What a great idea. What's the URL? Is it free?" Because people know ChatGPT, they're kind of understanding it. And statistically, I think it's something like 55% of Americans have used some sort of AI right now. So it's no longer novel. It's more table stakes in terms of people knowing what it is, which is actually great. And now people understand what the benefit is. So people started signing up and they started using it. A lot of curiosity, a lot of excitement, especially from some younger folks out there that were just on it. They see it as a tool specifically for every stage of a dog's journey, of a journey that a dog parent has, from preparing to get a dog to puppy days to raising the dog to senior moments, let's call them,
Right.
and then saying goodbye. Grief is a huge thing to deal with. If any sort of help that you can get is good. I mean, even with Mambo, I used some different LLMs that were out there, and they were okay. They were great, but I thought, wow, what if there was something that was all dedicated to dogs, 100%, and then what if there was also something that built a community, took it off the screen? And we're going to be doing that here in New York. In California, we're going to have pack walks, events, guided discussion groups around key topics. So it's not just this little tool; it's this tool that helps this entire community.
Right. Which I think is great. And I think you just answered this question, but I was going to ask you what gap in the pet world did you clearly see that made you say we need to build this?
Yeah,
And I think you just pretty much summed it up. Younger pet owners, when they first get a puppy, they have a ton of questions. And it's all based on community. Since I've started this podcast, I've
I have met so many other fellow dog lovers
I bet.
who have gone through dog grief, who are getting a new puppy, and it's quite a great. You're right. It's quite a great community. Pet parents are the best. People
Dog
who don't
people are
get
the
it
best people.
don't have dogs,
They
right?
don't get it. They just don't get it. Even when we're in New York City, and New York City has a reputation for being, a cranky, serious people. Couldn't be further from the truth. But dog people in New York City, super, super friendly. You meet a stranger up on the street, and 2 seconds later, you're rubbing the French bulldog's belly, and you're joking around. It doesn't matter if somebody's Republican, Democrat, Independent. All that goes away, and they're just a dog person. I love that. Yeah, it's one of
Yeah.
the things that we didn't expect, but connecting with other dog people, you just can't feel it. It's palpable.
Well, I used to still say Max was my boyfriend. He was the best boyfriend a girl could ever have, right? Because he was loyal, he was honest. I always knew where he was. He was a cuddle bear. I mean, he was perfect. And if I say that to somebody who doesn't have a dog, they think I'm a Looney Tunes because I say that, right? It's really bizarre. Anyway, so I'm glad that we've connected because I really love what you've come up with, and I
Thank
still
you.
can't get over how quickly you came up with it. If you came up with the idea in June and launched in October, so let's talk a little bit about how it works. Now, I've been on the site. I put in Max's name, and then you put in questions. So, Arlu or Anthony, whichever one you feel more comfortable with, to explain to our listeners actually how Ask Mambo works.
Right, I can take a quick introduction. So basically, Ask Mambo is first of all, it's a free service. It's browser based, and so there's no downloading required. And basically, as you said, the first question we ask is, "What is your dog's name?" That is where everything is rooted. In fact, down the line, when we do have a community, our profile photos will not be of the owners, but of the dogs themselves. And the way it works is that being a dog parent is an emotional journey. Carl, I'm sure you can attest to that. You have the highest highs, the happy moments, lots of laughter, but you also have the lows
Mhm.
when they get sick, when they start behaving erratically. Like in our case, when the illnesses became terminal, then it brought our concern to a different level. It is an emotional journey being a dog parent. And so when we were dreaming up Ask Mambo, we said we would like to come up with a smart assistant that would be there for all those moments for the dog parents. As Anthony said, you have the start of the journey where you're getting a dog. Questions like, what dog would be best suited for our lifestyle? What kinds of dogs are hypoallergenic? So things as all these questions that are floating around can now be coursed through Ask Mambo in a simple, engaging conversational format. And that's what we wanted to infuse in Ask Mambo, something easy. It almost feels like you're talking to a friend. And so
Mhm.
it's something as simple as just typing in your answer, and then Ask Mambo will give you the response to the best of its capacity. And then after that, there are follow-up questions to continue the conversation. So I've gone down the rabbit hole many times with Ask Mambo, and I've had many laughs because it is a funny platform.
Okay.
I wanted to make sure that we also infused Ask Mambo with a personality that's funny and that's also compassionate. I
Right.
think right now with technology, there's a tendency to think of tech as cold. And so what we wanted to start introducing was the idea of kind technology, where um, uh, you feel compassionate, you feel some concern, and that you're not just being spat out answers from a dictionary or from an
It's not
encyclopedia.
clinical in any way. Yeah.
Right. So you're solving real life pet parent struggles. What are some of the most common questions or concerns that you see coming in?
For sure. So, like I mentioned before, I come from tech and marketing, so I'm a data guy, data driven. So I couldn't wait to start seeing some of the data come in, and we did some analysis on it, and we saw three things kind of come to bear. We saw emotional reassurance, which is one area. Like, is my dog okay? Is he happy? How does this rash look? To calm the humans, not so much even about the dogs. Then real world problem solving, and then things like play, bonding, communication. Like those are really like the top three areas. And for the first one, that emotional reassurance, that is really important. What you went through with Max, what we're still going through with Mambo. I'm on Ask Mambo every day, asking questions about, I'm still feeling a little sad. The other night I was on, and we set up the Christmas tree, and I said, I'm looking over and I'm seeing a Christmas tree that Mambo used to sit next to, and he used
Mhm.
to sit under, and we have pictures, and those are the pictures we were looking at. I said, how do I get through this? How does this get easier? And it actually came back with a couple of really good ideas.
It
One of
did.
which, one said, name the waves. So, in other words, when sadness hits, when you have that moment, like for me, it was seeing the Christmas tree without Mambo. When that hits, identify that and say, this is how I feel when I see this. So I kind of naming that feeling in that instance removes the sting. It removes, after a while, it kind of removes takes the power away a little bit from it. So you start to connect those patterns and identify them. So, you are not your mind kind of a thing, which is fascinating. And it actually does help. And then it even gave me breathing techniques and grounding exercises in the moment when that anxiety spikes. And when you just got a little bit too sad, and you just want to kind of bring it down. So I was like, this is amazing. I love that. It really did provide real help, that emotional reassurance. But that's the number one kind of category where people use it.
Yeah, I can understand that because, you're going through it. You can't keep talking to your friends about it because they're getting tired of, discussing the passing of your dog. So to be able to type something in to ask Mambo and get great responses like that, that's a great idea. Now, I'm not a data person. I'm not a tech person, Anthony, at all. So how do you ensure that the advice and resources are correct, are real and helpful? Like how does that work?
For sure. I mean, everything is really based on evidence-based sources. So how these LLMs work, it goes out across digital globally, and it pulls all the publicly available, vetted, no pun intended, information that's trusted, best practices that you could really believe in. That's, from academic research reports to veterinary associations to behaviorists. It pulls in all of that information, runs through a bunch of filters that we've set up. And then what it does is it looks at your dog's profile. It says, okay, I know that you have a Shih Tzu that's 14 years old, has all these health issues, because you could also scan in medical reports, and it explains it in plain English. So it takes all of that. It takes your question, it pulls in the research, filters it all together, and then gives you an answer that's contextual, specifically to your dog. So it's trained on your dog and trained on all the medical information, their behavior, and then it correlates that with existing third-party information. So that's how we make sure that it's really trusted.
Arlie, what has surprised you the most in the community as it's growing?
Absolutely. What surprises me most about AskMambo, and it's only been a few months old, is the reception we've gotten from our users saying how much it has helped them. We started this using ourselves as the users. So we kind of built it for ourselves and thought, what would we want in a smart assistant? And so we came out with our list of requirements, and we're quite happy to see that people are responding to what we built in terms of it being a platform that is responsive and compassionate at the same time.
And now with that, have there been any stories from users that have touched you or reminded you why this project matters so much?
Absolutely. So we did hear from one of our dear friends from the AskMambo community, and she alerted us to a video on TikTok about a Shih Tzu named Tasha, and Tasha's from the Philippines. So it even drove it home for me because I am from the Philippines, and there was Tasha's parent was encountering some difficulties with an ear infection, and she being a first-time owner, she didn't know what to do. So we quickly went on her account, and we just ran it through Ask Mabo, and gave her a detailed list of what we feel might be good first steps before she considers taking the dog to the vet. What we are careful about with Ask Mambo is that whenever whenever vet intervention is required, we're quick to point that out. Especially in cases where issues are more serious, then we're also quick to refer users to hotlines for the ASPCA, for example, just so that professional consultation is provided where needed.
Right. Which I think is important to stress that this is not just you're not providing medical resources,
Correct.
maybe small things to help, like an ear infection before you get them to the vet. But for serious things, it's obvious, you need to get your dog to the vet immediately.
Absolutely. And we have that, all over the site and all the communications. It
Yeah.
does not replace a vet at all.
Right.
It can guide you, calm you down a little bit, point you in the right direction. So we do get medical questions, but we also get other kinds of questions. Like one time somebody had asked, do dogs get confused when you give them different nicknames over the years?
Hmm.
And I
That's a
thought
good
that's
one.
interesting, because I don't know with Max, but with Murph, we named him Murphy. We adopted him, right? Very formal, Murphy. And then we started to get to know him a little bit. It became Murph, right? Not too much of a leap. At some point, Carla, I don't know where, we started calling him Merp Merp.
Merp Merp?
Merp Merp. And then it's become his name. He responds to Merp Merp. Also to Murph, also to Murphy. Dogs know about 165 words, so changing around one name here or there isn't too much of a struggle. So for anyone else watching who might be struggling with that question, it's okay. Go ahead.
That's a great question. I never thought about that. How do you hope AskMambo will change the way people understand and care for their pets?
Our whole mission, like was mentioned before, it really is to help people get closer to their dogs.
Yeah.
And, the way that we do that is through silly little things like, the nickname thing. It's through health things, of course, which are more serious. But it's even things like what we call vibe checks. Take a picture of your dog, share it with AskMambo, and say, what's my dog's mood right now? How's he feeling? And it looks at their body language. It runs it against all the data against what different body language means for different breeds, different types of dogs. And it'll say, Murph is super chill right now. He looks really content. Sometimes people say, is my dog, is he bored? He said, no, he's not bored. He's blissed out. That was actually an answer that he provided. Then he said, here's why he's blissed out. And then you get to be closer to your dog in that sense. And again, just helping people calm down, helping people understand what the dog is going through so that you can act and take that next step without too much worry.
Right. Arlo, as founders, what's been the hardest part about building a company in the pet space, and what's been the most rewarding?
Thank you. I think right now, since we're dealing with technology that is new, AI, there's
Yeah.
still a lot of questions surrounding the future of AI. And so us marching into the world of AI from the vantage point of a pet parent, our challenge is to be able to present the platform in a way that people will trust it and not doubt its results. So I think in that way, we seem to be emerging as some kind of stewards of AI, because now that we're trying to define how can this technology be used in everyday life, in our case, with regards to our dogs, we're trying to shape it so that the technology does not come out cold, that it comes out compassionate, kind, sensitive. That is what we're trying to achieve. In fact, all this falls under what you would call a responsible AI, that one that's ethically sound and one that does, it is very human. It's not cold or too mechanized.
Right. And you mentioned, right, Arlo, that AI is relatively new and it's growing exponentially fast. A lot of people are using it. So looking forward, because you're so new, Anthony, what exciting features, expansions, or future plans do you have that you would like to share with us?
Sure, couple of things. Some of them are technical, like where we have a lot of functionality plans that's going to enhance the AskMambo experience, make it easier to save, share, integrate with different vet practices that are out there. So the ability to do a lot more with the data, because if you think about it, you go to the vet and you update the vet, how's your dog been doing? Oh, he's been okay. He's been doing this, been doing this. But imagine if you could upload every conversation that you've had about your dog, and it'll outline certain points and certain trends. So that's something we're excited about on the tech product side. We're also building out, like I mentioned earlier, our community. And the name of the community is Dog People.
That's the name, Dog
Dog
People.
People. Yeah.
Okay, love
Yeah,
it.
Dog People, because dog people are the best people. And, we're going to have the community online. And then, like I mentioned, also taking the experience off the screen, pack walks in New York City, places in California, and several states and cities in between. So really bringing people together so that dog people kind of connect and bond with other dog people, make new friends, set up play dates for your dog to hang out with another dog in the city. So those are the two areas that we're really focusing on: off the screen improvements and product digital improvements, that at the end of the day, they're both going to help us kind of reach that mission.
Now, these Dog People events that you're going to have, are they based in the US, or are you going to have some in Canada as well?
Really good question. Canada's next. We're starting in the US, then we're going to go to Canada, and then global, probably Europe after that. But yeah, we're starting first in the US, and then we'll be all perfect for you guys in Canada when we're ready to go.
Coming soon.
I'm Canadian, but I live in Mexico City now. And I actually, I moved with Max because Max was a rescue from Mexico. So I brought him with me when I left my job at Global. I always had a dream of living in Mexico. So I thought after COVID, it sort of was the time where I thought if I don't do it now, I'll never do it. So I gave away all my stuff, packed up 4 suitcases, grabbed Max and moved to Mexico. And now
Wow.
I'm in Mexico City, which I'm not sure if you've been or you're aware, it's a very, very dog friendly city.
Nice.
So
We haven't been.
I got it. The two of you would love it. I say it's New York City on steroids. It's the culture and the people and the food and the way they treat their dogs here are incredible. The dog trainers are incredible. And Max came with me to restaurants all the time. He would sit on
Wow.
the chair beside me. So it's really nice to live in such a dog friendly city.
Wow, that's good to know. I didn't realize that. We're gonna have to get that on the launch list.
See, Mexico needs to be on your radar.
All right, you got it.
Thanks for that. No,
Okay. And then I want to be part of it. So, you guys don't forget about me.
No, not at all.
let this be the start.
I love your Instagram account.
Oh, thank you.
I was just on it earlier and we were laughing because the video was running, but you've got some great things like the Great Dane core and the dog that has his first pair of shoes and the way they run. So can you share with us your Instagram account and your website?
Sure. It's easy. Everything's AskMambo. So it's askmambo.com. We're AskMambo on Instagram, on TikTok, and YouTube as well, coming soon.
There's nothing like this out in the market right now, is there?
There isn't. There's little bits and pieces of it, but nothing that ties it all together, and certainly nothing with the personality. As Arlu was mentioning before, that persona that we built, that took a long time to really focus on what that personality is going to be like. So you really do feel like you're talking to a human.
Right. I love it. Well, I hope the two of you feel the love of your Mambo every day. And I hope you know that you are carrying his spirit forward with you with what you're doing.
Thank you.
So
Yeah,
and like so we carry Mambo spirit, Max's spirit forward.
Yeah, always. Grief is a tough one. It never goes away. It's always there. It just gets a little easier every day. That's what I've learned. Well, thank you both for sharing your story, for opening up your hearts, for
A pleasure.
Murph and for Mambo and for Ask Mambo, and of course for honoring Mambo. Thank you.
Thank you so
Thank
much.
you so
Really
much, Arlu.
appreciate
We hope-
having us on.
We hope to see you either in New York or in Mexico.
Mexico City.
No
You
big
got it.
plans.
All right, you two.
For
Well,
having us.
you're welcome. Thank you both for creating a space that supports, educates, and uplifts pet parents everywhere. Ask Mambo is more than a platform. As we've been talking about, it's a community built from compassion and the belief that our dogs deserve the very best from us. If you're listening and if you've ever felt overwhelmed, unsure, or simply curious about how to better care for your dog, Ask Mambo is here to help. Anytime, anywhere. And as always, thank you for joining me on A Dog's Devotion, because when we support each other, we give our dogs the happiest, healthiest lives possible. Until next time, love your dogs and love them hard. Thank you, Anthony and Arlu. Continued success to both of you.
Thank you so much, Carla.
Thank you,
Okay.
Carla.
You as
All
well.
right, we'll see you soon. Take care.
Take care. Bye-bye.
You too.
And that's a wrap on another unforgettable story from the heart, because when it comes to love, loyalty, and second chances, no one does it better than our dogs. They find us when we're lost, lift us when we're low, and teach us what true devotion really looks like. Thanks for listening, and remember, in this wild world, we're all just trying to find our way home. Sometimes it takes 4 paws to lead us there. So give your pup an extra cuddle today and cherish your time with him. Give him some extra treats too. I know he'll love them. This podcast is in honor of my best buddy, Max.